Details like this win every time. This is a mnemonic that I like to teach my students to train the planning phase of their routine. So this week is a planning video, the first part of our 4-week series working through the PPEE routine, where again, we're going through the planning phase, the preparing phase, the execution, and the evaluation parts of a proper routine. So today's video again is on the planning phase, where again, details like this wins every time. Stands for we need to get a distance for every single shot. We need to get the read your lie. So we need to make sure that we are reading the lie every single time we hit. We need to look at the trouble around our target area, the wind, as well as the elevation of every single shot we hit. So details like this win every time is a mnemonic to remember each part of the planning phase. So I'm here at Glen Aaron Golf Club, where we're going to be playing hole number 15, arguably one of the hardest holes here at Glen Aaron Golf Club. It's a tree-lined golf hole where we have trees on both sides, and I'm playing from our orange sets of tees, so we're playing from 420 yards away. So when we are hitting today, we are trying to keep the ball in play, stay out of trouble, and hopefully walk away with a par. So when we're gathering information, we want to gather information from the tee box to play the entire hole, and then we want to gather information for the individual shot. So I would like to play this hole to get on the green in regulation. I'd like to be able to get into a scoring area, which I'd like to get into around 150 yards or so, and that would allow me to hit a short iron into the green. So for me to be able to do this, as we look at the hole, this is a par 4, not necessarily a hole that I need to hit driver due to that it's very narrow, but also I don't need to necessarily hit driver to get to that 150-yard zone either. And when we look at the overhead view, the 150-yard area is actually the widest area of the hole. So that gives me the largest room for error. So that's kind of the target zone that I'm looking for. So when I hit at this hole, I look ahead as I can see the green, and I can see the flag is located all the way to the very back left. So already I'm starting to plan out that I want to stay on the right side of the hole off the tee shot, so then I have a better angle towards the flag. So I want to hit it again about 150 yards into the green, so that by math would leave me about 270 yards off of the tee. It does play a little downhill, so I don't necessarily need to carry it all that distance. I can use some of the ground game to get it there. So I'm going to play more of a low penetrating shot. That way I can kind of keep it closer to the ground, keeping it hopefully more likely to stay in play. And I'd like to stay out of the wind, allowing the tree line to block my wind effect and keeping my ball obviously more straight on its ball flight. So I've chosen a 3-iron, which is usually around a 240-yard club for me. So I'm going to use that off of the tee, and being that I want to kind of give myself an angle around these trees on the left, I'm going to tee up on the right-hand side. So it gives me a better angle and allows me, again, a good sight line down the fairway. So I tee myself up. I'm going to go ahead and go through my preparation, just a couple practice swings, which again, we're going to go into greater detail in next week's video. But I want to, again, stay on the right-hand side. I'm picking a precise spot down the fairway so I can see the edge of the green on the right-hand side. There's a tree just behind that I'm going to be aiming towards. So I want to aim directly at that, knowing that the fairway would likely kick this down to the left just slightly. Go into my process, aim the club, 2 waggles, look at the target again, and then I go. Solid strike, slight pull a little bit, so we might be on the left-hand side, but I think due to the club selection, we might be safe. So let's head on up there and take a peek. Okay, so we were fortunate enough to hit the fairway. Thankfully, we chose a club that obviously took for the entire width of the fairway, since we did pull it a little bit. But we're on the left-hand side. We're a little shy of my 150 yards out, I believe, and the flag is towards the back part of the green. So I do need to stay on the left side, even though I am on the left side of the fairway. So I think as a plan here, I'd like to stay a little bit right, just shooting for the middle of the green since I'm a little out of position. So I'm going to play smart and know that my natural miss is a slight pull. So I'm going to play to the center of the green, and if I did pull it, I got some more room for error here. So first thing is we want to, again, measure. We want to be able to get our distance. Okay, so get the distance of our shot. So let's get an exact using a rangefinder or GPS. We're at about 176. Had to shoot that a couple times to get it exact. So that's, again, to the flag, and I know it's towards the back of the green, so I don't really want to go anything past that. So anything that's more than 180 yards, I don't really want to use probably a club that could run the risk of going long. Again, then I want to adjust for my lie. My lie is very flat and in the fairway, so no adjustments needed there. The trouble here is really the trees on my left-hand side. I want to avoid that, and there are a couple bunkers that block the very back of the green. So I don't want to go very long or even get into the back part of the green at all, especially because there's some bunkers. There is a nice little bailout area on the right-hand side, which would make for a very easy chip. So knowing where my trouble is allows me to then kind of go away from that and choose my actual target. Make sure, again, you know where you want to go, and you tell yourself where you're attempting to go as a target rather than where you're trying to avoid. And then I want to, again, factor in wind and elevation. I cannot feel the wind, but I can look up into the trees and I can see there's a little bit of a breeze, and it's going from left to right. So it's not going to necessarily help me get closer to the hole. If anything, it's going to hurt me. So I do want to make sure that I plan for it to kind of push away just a little bit, factoring that in, as well as this is slightly uphill. This is uphill probably about 5 yards or so about 15 feet. So that means I need to add 5 yards onto my intended yardage. So again, I was at 174, I believe, 179. Let me just double check that again here. 176. So that means I'm really playing about a 181 based on the elevation. So again, me not going longer than 180 is easily going to work out for me. So that's going to be my 7-iron. So I'm going to grab that out of my bag. Again, that's making sure that I don't run anything longer. My 7-iron maxes out at about 180 yards. And I'm playing my target line just right in the middle of the green. That is to the right of the tree line. So it allows me to stay away from any tendency to go into the trees. And it does give me some room for me to still have the wind push it slightly to the right. So I'm going to do my couple practice swings, get a good feel. And again, see my target, not anything else. We need to become tunnel vision to the target. So that's all I see. So I get set up. I aim my club. Again, a couple waggles. It's a good routine for me. Look at the target and go. Ooh, it actually worked out really well. Right at the middle of the green. I think we're safely on. Okay, so let's go see what we're going to do. Maybe we'll make a birdie today. All right, so we have reached the green and we are ready to start planning for our putt. We actually start the planning process before we even step onto the green. We need to look at the green from a landscape view, looking across the entirety of the green so we can find the high points, which we can see on the back left portion of this green, and then the low points down here towards the front where my golf ball is. So I know that I'm going to be going uphill, and I know that likely I'll be seeing a left to right putt. This is much easier for us to kind of depict from far away because, again, you get a landscape view. This is very similar to like how you would hang a picture frame on the wall. You can sometimes think you're level, but as soon as you step back away from the picture, you notice it's not very level. So make sure you start green reading before you even walk up to the green. Start seeing it kind of from this landscape view. So we're going to walk on over here. We did come up a little bit short, so we didn't hit it nearly as far as we had hoped. So the wind was a little bit more against us and maybe didn't strike it as good as we had hoped. But all in all, we reached the green in regulation on one of the hardest holes at Glen Aaron Golf Club. So frankly, I'm never going to say this is a bad start here. So again, I'm looking at the same process. Again, details like this win every time. So when I walk up, I want to find my distance. So I might pace off my putt. I'm going to pick up my ball. I'm going to clean it, start pacing. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19. So we're looking at a 57-foot putt. So we have a really long one. I definitely am looking at the distance as I was pacing, but also looking at what I'm feeling in my feet. So I'm looking at the slopes, I'm feeling in my feet kind of the amount of slope that I'm going up. So I know that this is definitely breaking to the right as we already kind of pictured, but I know that I am going to see this ball running onto the right, and there is a slope over here. So I want to steer clear of the big miss and then going too far to the right and then into the bottom tier on the right hand side. So when I walk up, again, I'm picturing kind of this putt into 3 parts. I want to see kind of the beginning third, the middle third, and then the last third. This is kind of like what I like to see as like little checkpoints or gates that I'm trying to putt through when I'm reading my putt. This allows me to kind of know where I'm going to see it start, going through that first third of this putt, so the first 19 feet or so. Then I want to see what I'm going to see going through the next 19 feet and where I would need the ball to be coming in from to be able to finish next to the hole. So I kind of picture this coming up to the left, somewhere up over here. And then I see it kind of wanting to climb a little bit to the right, flattening out a little bit, but it's still going to have a continuous break off to the right. So I want to kind of walk this out one last time after I set this down. And I'm going to trace this out perfectly for you guys. So I'm going to walk this down and then basically going to try to walk the line, little Johnny Cash. We're going to walk the line and it's going to kind of start turning, continuously go all the way to the hole. So that's kind of the line we're going to try to map out here. And now I need to, again, go through my rehearsals and my preparation phase, right? And I need to get a good feel for the distance. Since this is a lag putt, I'm mostly caring about distance, feeling out how hard I'm going to hit my first putt here. Okay, it's set up, feel that aim, feels good, and we go. Got it up to the left, it's coming down, rolled it up to a few feet, not too bad. Let's keep her going. Again, not too bad. I always like the rule of thumb on a lag putt is that I need to knock 90% of the putt off on the first attempt. So from 57 feet, if I can get it inside of 5, that's not too bad. So I did my job on the first putt, and I get down. I want to read it again from a nice low position. These ones are the ones that are make or break your round, so I definitely see it again from back to front. We know it wants to run down to the right, so I'm going to go on the left-hand side. Again, rehearse, feeling exactly the putt that I'm going to try to put on the golf ball. Right in the heart. So, again, this is hole number 15 here at Glen Aaron Golf Club. And I was able to master it with a par. Again, didn't even play it perfectly. I hit my tee shot off to the left, but again, because of my proper planning, I was allowed to be able to still be in the fairway, and it allowed me enough distance far enough back to go around the trees or to go over the top even if I was a little bit more to the left. I chose a target to hit into the green that was more off to the right to be able to hit into the middle to avoid that trouble and then allow me to, again, safely be on the green in regulation. The most important stat that you would want to ever track for yourself is greens in regulation. Hit more greens and I can guarantee your scores are going to improve. So by any means necessary, hit a part of the green and get the putter in your hands. And then I need to be able to obviously read a green and focus on the objectives of every single shot. So my first putt, my objective was only pace. I didn't need to necessarily be perfect on my line. I needed to get a general idea of what I wanted it to do. But as I hit my putt, as long as my pace was good and I had the reading somewhat close, I lagged it up very close. And I sealed the deal with a nice short putt and closed out with my par. So again, really your course management as well as your planning process is really, really important so we can just optimize our strategy as we play to be able to get the best scores possible. So again, this was our planning phase of our PPEE routine. Stick with us for future weeks that we're going to go through, again, our preparation, execution, and our evaluation phase. And again, with details like this, you win every time. So remember that mnemonic and make sure that you put it into play next time you step on the course.